Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you are watching from. I promise to bring the story of my life, and here I am to share my story. In 2016, we had an accident along Mombasa Road, and this accident just happened because of the careless driving along Mombasa Road. We were in between trailers and trucks that would have squeezed a whole van of 14 passengers to death. And so the driver then decided to swap out of the road to one of the diversions on that road. Nothing happened. The vehicle seemed okay. But from the bumping out of the road, I could feel the impact on my back. Forget about what happened after that. But a month or two later, I started having a lot of pain. And one day, I woke up with my whole body swollen. I was feeling a lot of pain in my back, and I was feeling a lot of pain in all my joints, especially the hip joints. And so I started medication in one of the clinics in Nairobi. I was tested, and then I realized that I was having osteoarthritis. At this time, the pain wasn't going. My walking style had changed, and things were not as usual in a very short period of time. I did not know what to do, but this time I knew something was amiss. After a month's treatment, I went back to the same clinic and I was given some medication. It was on a Saturday. I took the medicine on Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and on Monday. And while I was in class before lunchtime, I felt that I would collapse in a classroom. That's when I called the director and she gave me permission to go back home. By then, I was just living in the organization and it wasn't far to get home. So I went home. I called my husband. I told him I'm not feeling well. I am in the house. And the organization discussed and they thought it was a good thing to try medication at the Aga Khan University Hospital. And then treatment began. Yes, I went for treatment from October, November, December, January. Things were not improving. And so I had known that I had developed not only osteoarthritis, but rheumatoid arthritis too. The x-rays and MRIs showed that the space between my joints, specifically my hip joints, had reduced to zero. And so there was nothing else that can be done except having a total hip replacement. And so these doctors at Aga Khan recommended that I see the orthopedic surgeon. And so we made arrangements and I went and I saw him and he gave me a quotation which was not too small. It was quite a lot. I would never afford. So I continued with the medication that I could afford, taking medicines which were really acidic and very expensive. I continued to work, do what I could do, but still I got used to pain. And I waited 2017, 2018. I thought I would continue working and I kept it hopeful that one day the Lord will come through for me. So it was a matter of looking for this money so that I can get the total hip replacement done. I went through Google. I searched for that surgery. It was a terrible one. And the problem with me was I wanted to watch the real surgery, not the animated one. And so I was so much informed about what is going to happen to me if I ever had a total hip replacement. So we looked for money, and graciously, the organization, specifically that madam and her husband, connected me to a donor who came through for me and decided to fund my surgery. I had done everything I could to see if I could raise some money, but the money that I could raise was about 5,000, 10,000, knowing that I needed millions to get that surgery done. So I waited on God, but I prayed that the Lord would come through for me one day. And so time came. 2018 was the hardest year. I started the year very well. I was hopeful that I would get well. The headmaster of that school where I was working had gone through the same surgery, and so he understood my pain. His wife was a nurse, and so they shared their powerful painkillers with me most of the time. And so by the end of second term, the pain was intense. It was what we called the unfathomable pain. I was in too much pain. But God never abandons us in that state. And so somebody came through and funded my surgeries. In September 12th, I had my right hip joint replaced, and in 24th of October, I had my left hip replaced, and the healing journey began. I can assure you, it is not easy to walk around with artificial hips. I had to be extra careful lest anything happens and you have to go back for that surgery for one reason. The surgery itself is too long. It takes hours. You can be in theater for about 8 hours. Number two, it is painful to heal when you imagine your hip joint getting dislocated, like that of a cow in slaughter, and then drilling all those implants into your bones and having your femoral head cut and the socket replaced with another ball. It is actually very painful. And so I started to be extra careful. But even with me being so careful, I fell not once, not twice, but about 5 times. I remember one day I fell at Christmas. My joint dislocated. I felt a lot of pain, but I still had to go back to the doctor so that they could restore that joint the way it should be. The experience wasn't one of the best. It was very, very painful. I knew that was the end of me. I knew I had to deal with a lot of things due to this surgery. And I knew disability had hit my life. So here I am. I have had the surgery done. I am trying to recover, but just a few months, I am falling so many times. I have to keep working. I have to think about how I will do my things. Bending is a problem, but all in all, God is still faithful. This is the first part of my story. I've been sick. I have waited for 2 years to get the surgery done, and faithfully God has provided. The surgery is done, but now is the post-healing process. Join me for part 2 of this story, and let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I love you, my people. Thank you.